that day. This should be a real interesting go today, Frank. Should just be outstanding.
John Cluckerty, Len Wirtz, and Don Shea are the officials. And the tip is controlled by Iowa. Steve Carfino in the backcourt. Carfino has struggled a little bit for the Hawkeyes. He's been somewhat inconsistent. And to say the least against Utah State. Stokes driving for the basket. Missouri comes up with the rebound.
Straight man-to-man defense for the Tigers. Norm Stewart plays little else. I expect Iowa to play a great deal of their matchup zone. It won't look like a matchup, but that's exactly what it is.
They shot 26% at Iowa in the first half against Utah State, 39 for the game, and still won it by 5. Jon Sundvold.
He is a pure shooter. A lot of people compare him to Willie Smith, who was at Missouri. Sundvold probably a better shooter. Smith maybe the better all-around player.
And of course a great leader for the Missouri Tigers, along with Stipanovich, two of the greatest players they've ever had. Both All-Americans in their own right. Stokes trying to handle the inside pass. Carfino with the open shot. Yes.
That will really help him. He needs to play well, or else you'll see Banks suddenly. Banks came in and did a job when they could not stop penetration against the Utah State Aggies.
Score tied at 2, Sundvold and Prince Bridges. Bridges has missed a good part of the season with a broken foot. Been back for the last 12 games and been averaging in double figures, so obviously that helps. They're playing Dressler in the meantime. Pass underneath, goes out of bounds.
The key to Missouri early is how well they're moving their feet. If they're standing around, Norm Stewart knows he's in trouble. They will try and take advantage of something Iowa does. They get in the passing lanes. They'll try and use that bounce pass and penetrate.
Bobby Hansen to Gannon. Gannon on top is the open shot over Jones and drills it.
You know, Gannon got him going the other night with an outside jump shot. Plus, he came on and played Greg Grant on defense when the Utah State kid was eating Iowa up.
Bridges has it taken away from him. Gannon is open from the corner. Rebound Stipanovich at 6'11". He clears it off the window. Down to Prince Bridges. And Bridges will slow it down. Sometimes as Bridges comes down that court, he looks like he's on a motorcycle. He can really motor.
And he's really been coming on the last 5 ball games. Prince Bridges has been outstanding.
And just in time as the Tigers make their NCAA run. Sundvold.
Boy, does he shoot it quick. I tell you, they'll have to make an adjustment on that wing with Sundvold. They're trying to sag and take away the inside from Stipanovich and Cavener, and Sundvold is eating them alive right now.
He's a 59% field goal shooter, and that's unusual for a guy who plays outside. Gannon has an open shot. Can't get it to go, and Cavener comes up with the rebound. Big sophomore. Down court to Sundvold. Blue Springs, Missouri, and he is chopped by Hansen. First personal foul of the ball game on Bob Hansen of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes need to start off shooting it to get their confidence back. They were getting the good shots the other night, but they just weren't falling.
Lute Olson, there's a look at Lute. Got him a great shot with his pattern. The ball just wouldn't go down. The guy who just committed the foul, Hansen, kept them alive, or they would have no shot against Utah State.
Ron Jones inbounding it to Sundvold. Sundvold and Bridges playing it outside. Score tied at 4 with the game about 3 minutes old. To Cavener, looking inside to Stipanovich. They got it jammed up pretty good in the middle for the Hawkeyes.
He hadn't touched the ball. They're doing a terrific job on him, Frank, but that does leave Sundvold open from the wing.
Of course, he'll come out and shoot that perimeter shot as good as anyone. Stipanovich, first shot of the game doesn't go. Cavener with the tip. And we get a foul called on Greg Jones of Missouri for reaching over underneath.
A foul on Gannon, number 44.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me change that. On the other 44, and that's Gannon of Iowa. Back to Sundvold. Has that open shot from 23 feet out. Cavener saves it. Bad pass. Steal by Carfino, one-on-one with Sundvold. Left-handed layup goes.
Boy, Sundvold ran at him. Carfino didn't lose his poise with the left hand. And the poise paid off. 6-4 Iowa lead. Boy, I tell you, Payne and Stipanovich are pushing and shoving, doing some kind of job. There's the shooter.
Sundvold with the miss. Rebound comes down to Stokes, one of the Twin Towers. Carfino drives it inside to Hansen. Hansen really lit it up the other night against Utah State when they needed it. 24 points. In fact, he has been their hot shooter. Down the home stretch of the season, they needed every point from him the other night.
Iowa's changed their defense. They're in a man now. We'll watch Stipanovich. Payne is their best inside defender. He's going to have to work hard.
Payne and Stipanovich. Payne is not as strong as Stokes as Prince Bridges with his first basket of the game.
Boy, what a difference in the crowd. There's so many people here from Iowa. They estimate about 7,000. Maybe the most intense fans in the country. Gannon threw an elbow and got away with it.
6-6 the score. Hansen inside to Stokes. Left-hander is good.
He might be the most improved guy in the nation.
6'10" sophomore. Look at the yellow in that crowd.
And both teams have yellow as their basic colors. Actually, we better say gold, as people think we're calling them scaredy cats, and they're not.
Sundvold with a nice fake. Bridges looking inside to Cavener. Can't get it in there. Got those two towers in there. Do a good job. Cavener with a good move. Left-handed shot. No good. Tipped up and in by Stipanovich. That's his first of the game.
He is so tough. He's projected to go anywhere from in the first round up to the 12th pick. He's become an excellent passer. Reminds you of Alvin Adams. Played at Oklahoma in the Big 8. Now is so tough for the Phoenix Suns.
Fourth tie of the game. Stokes can't get the shot away. Hansen. Nice fake. Gets Bridges out of position. Basket doesn't go, but he's fouled by Bridges.
Hansen, time and time again, saw him last year in the regional, saw him this year in regular season. Here against Utah State, he gets a shot off. Frank, he's an NBA-type shooter, always getting it up on the glass, and he gets a lot of continuation plays.
Hansen will be on the line with 2 shots. We're talking about Stokes from Iowa being an improved player. His coach last summer in the National Sports Festival was Norm Stewart, the head coach at Missouri, and Norm was saying yesterday, I hope he didn't improve too much.
Yeah, but then Stormin Norman in the same breath said he owes everything to me. If we could just get Norm to have a strong opinion.
That's right. Speak your mind. Huh? Hansen with 2 from the foul line. And the Hawkeyes back out in front in what's been a very tight game by a score of 10-8. We were sitting next to Wayne Duke, the Big Ten commissioner, at the game the other night. Like a proud papa, got 8 of his 10 teams in the conference postseason play, including 5, of course, in the NCAA tournament.
Plus, he was the Big 8 commissioner, so he takes a little credit for Missouri.
Jones' shot is short, and Gannon, who can muscle underneath, clears it off the glass to Carfino. Hansen, quick pass to Payne. Payne is a good assist man. They played him in the middle last year. He was Big Ten Freshman of the Year, moved him outside. Hansen with the miss. This is actually the first year that Payne hasn't played center in his career.
Well, the Twin Towers make so much sense to play them together. Frank, I love the tempo. Both teams really getting after it. Look at the move by Stipo.
Martino trying to pick his pocket there.
Oh, Lute Olson will not be happy with that one. Carfino felt he had a good effort there. The official sees it differently. And we got a timeout.
14 minutes, 11 seconds left to play in the first half of this NCAA Midwest.
The Wichita State game and the famous 6th timeout. And what happened that day and that kind of story. But people ought to forget that. That guy's done a great job. This guy's done a terrific job, too. Norm Stewart took over for Bob Bonetta, played at Missouri, was an assistant to the Sparky Stahl Cup. 4 Big 8 titles in a row. That's not easy. That's a league that includes Jack Hartman, Ted Owens.
Missouri trailing by 2 with the basketball in the front court. Prince Bridges on the outside. Stewart, in addition to everything else, used to be an official.
That's right. He worked at Missouri Valley as Sundvold hits one. He was a good official, and that's why he works them pretty good. He still officiates.
Yeah, but he gets on officials pretty good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
He knows what'll work and what won't. Hansen, oh, nice steal by the big man, Stipanovich. Great quickness. Prince Bridges on the drive, lays it in, it'll count, and he's fouled.
Was that special? You talk about an explosion going to the hole. Prince Bridges made that look easy. He just exploded. From the steal, we'll take a look. Stipanovich has got a little quickness, does his job as he fronts Stokes, and then Stipo gives up the basketball to Prince Bridges. Watch this as he explodes, soft off the glass.
Foul is on Stokes. That's the first foul on either of the 2 Iowa big men. Bridges missing, and Hansen grabs the rebound.
Iowa basically goes with their passing game. They do a lot of stuff inside with the Twin Towers. There it is right there as they pick for Stokes.
Gannon looking at Payne, who goes cross court. Ruth Olson pointed out that Payne this year has doubled his assists from last year. Of course, between those 2 big guys, they average like 17 or 18 rebounds a game.
thing that's impressive about Iowa, they get all their offense inside the paint, get a good shot.
Hansen with a wide open shot from 20 feet, drills it.
They work very hard. They move without the basketball. Lute Olson is just an excellent coach. Technically, you just can't find a thing that he does wrong.
Both teams hitting awfully well in the opening going. Stipanovich has the shot blocked on him by Stokes. Steeple on the floor, loses it a second time. Hansen to Gannon, back to Hansen. One pass too many.
Lute Olson didn't like Gannon going behind the back as he turns it over with the travel call.
Off to a pretty good pace here. Score tied at 12 with 12:45 left to play in the first half. Freedom Hall, Louisville, Kentucky. In case you joined us late, Memphis State won the first game, beating Georgetown.
Norm Stewart has changed his offense now. Sundvold will overload and they'll run through. They'll try and get Sundvold on the baseline. Here he comes.
Winner of this game will move on to Kemper Arena in Kansas City next week and face Villanova. And of course, it'd be a tremendous advantage, particularly for Missouri. That'd almost be a home court situation. Sundvold missing from outside, and Hansen grabs the rebound. Well, he's cooled off a little bit. Missouri now 6 out of 11 from the field. Iowa is 5 out of 10. Payne starting to drive on Cavener. Great move for a man 6'11". That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. Boy, do they get a great shot. You got to appreciate what Olson does to get them the good shots. They pick, they move without the basketball. That little diamond passing game that they have.
You know, Payne's father, Tom, played on the Iowa team back in 1956. That same team with Kane and people like that you were talking about. And I remember, as I recall, they went to the Final Four, didn't they, up in Evanston, Illinois?
That's right. A lot of tradition on both sides.
Stipanovich, who has been engaged thus far most of the afternoon. All 5 starters have now scored for Iowa. Missouri going to the deliberate game, looking for the big shot.
The pattern that is taken on this end of the court, it is Sundvold all the way. He's got the open shots.
They're going to let Jones shoot from out front, and he hits it from 14.
Not a bad shooter. More noted for his inside play, and he is a good defender, but he got the easy one as they concentrate so much on Stipanovich. Jones able to run free.
Lute talking to his bench over there. It's the Hawkeyes' 8th NCAA tournament, their 5th in a row. They were second back in 1956 and then lost to Louisville in 1980 in a semifinal matchup when they made the Final Four.
They continue to get the good movement as they pick you down low in the paint.
Playing much better than they did the other night against Utah State. Payne with a fadeaway. That kid is showing me something.
Oh, he's looking very, very tough. We knew we'd have a great matchup between the 2 big men on both sides. Nothing has disappointed us so far. 10:26 left, a 2-point Iowa lead.
Payne's averaging just under 11 per game and 7.6 rebounds from Quincy, Illinois. Cavener trying to move inside. Rebound. Iowa. Stokes to Hansen. Here comes Missouri galloping back the other way. Prince Bridges to Sundvold. Stipanovich. Remember what he did to Ralph Sampson from about that area?
Yeah, I'll tell you, February 20th, he showed me something. 27 points, 12 boards against Sampson. Guy can shoot it from the outside.
We're tied at 16. Steve Carfino, who is from Bellflower, California, slips and loses control of the ball.
Here's the Twin Towers playing that defense inside. Payne, who's their best inside, gets some help from Stokes. Cavener is much improved. He goes up and he is going to get stuffed. He actually travels first.
Timeout here at Freedom Hall with 9:40 left to play in the first half, and we're tied.
Well, I was going to say, can you get a ticket? It isn't true if you throw a gum wrapper on the green, they ask you to leave.
No, but it is picked up, I'll tell you, within 10 seconds after it hits the ground. 9:40 left to go, 16 apiece. We said this would be an even game. Both teams shooting exactly 53%. Both have 7 rebounds.
Guy in Bloomington, Indiana, at the University of Indiana, who said this would be the most even game going. And as for his credibility, he's picked 3 of the Final 4 winners the last 4 years. Picks Houston this year. We'll see how that comes out.
Missouri turns it over. Dressler has come into the game during the timeout for the Missouri Tigers. Payne is rejected by Stipanovich.
Boy, that was
The hand
special.
got him.
That was really special. Look at Stipanovich's agility here. Cavener playing defense hard, but Stipanovich on a jump switch. Excellent.
Inside to Gannon. Stokes. Stipanovich fouled him before the shot, so Stipanovich picks up his first foul. You know, you go back 4 years as you look at the final score, which will make Big Ten fans very happy. Ohio State being Syracuse, 79-74. 4 years ago, you had Stipanovich, you had Ralph Sampson, you had Sam Bowie coming out as the 3 big men.
That's right. So Ohio State will go to the Carrier Dome. Big disappointment for the Syracuse fans. They thought they could get up there, get out of that regional.
Michael Payne.
Even though he missed it, it looks good. Look at this, they got a puppy.
Great outlet. Cavener slams it.
You send your guards to the boards, that's what happens. You give up layups. Norm Stewart took advantage. Both guards went to the boards that time, and Lute Olson isn't very happy.
18-16. Missouri with 8:45 left to play in the first half. Andre Banks is in the lineup now. Stokes with the turnaround jumper.
He is so sweet with that left hand.
Keep in mind, those 2 big guys are just sophomores, so they're going to be around a while. Prince Bridges on the outside. Carfino getting ready to come back in. Banks is in there now. Really did a marvelous job the other night coming off the bench against Utah State. Played some great defense, steadied him down.
Might have won the ballgame because he stopped Washington from penetrating.
And he's just a freshman. One of the top high school players last year in the Chicago area. Missouri going to the deliberate offense now. Sundvold. Stipanovich, leading scorer and rebounder in Missouri's history, and Sundvold is second in both those categories, and he's a guy you love to have because with 2 minutes to go in the game, he wants the ball.
I'll tell you what, he'll look the coach right in the eye during the timeout, tell him, give me the ball, I'll win it for you.
Stipanovich to Dressler. Dressler is the young man you've heard much about with regard to hypnotism, or as he calls it, positive thinking.
They asked him if he's going to be hypnotized. He says, no, I'm going to do it myself. I tell you, it's not all that bad. I had a pitcher once that did that too, and it worked. Ball 1, ball 2, hit him in the seat of the pants for a while.
Dressler outside Bridges. Good defense by the Iowa Hawkeyes. Missouri having a tough time penetrating. Sundvold. One thing about Sundvold, he makes a mistake about once every 5 games.
Well, you know what Stan Morrison, the coach from USC, calls him Einstein and sneakers.
Dressler, 15-footer. They finally got a little too impatient, put up the air ball. Cavener with the rebound, left hands in through the hoop.
Frank, I can't believe the improvement over this guy. I saw him a year ago and I thought he was lazy. He works so hard now. You can credit Norm Stewart in that program. This guy really competes.
20-18, and we get a whistle and the foul called away from the ball by Lenny Wirtz, one of the officials, as Carfino comes back in.
We're talking about Cavener and the good things that he does. He'll cherry pick on this. The guards go to the board. There's all 5 black shirts in the paint, and they're going to get the ball down. Now, this is Cavener hustling in here. We'll see that other play in just a little bit.
Sundvold picked up the personal foul, his first. Missouri with 3 team fouls and Iowa with 4. With 6:50 left to play in the first half. 20-18. Tigers by 2. Hansen. He's cooled off a little bit. Stipanovich clears it. Prince Bridges. That quick move down court. Bridges drives the baseline. Pull-up jumper. Stipanovich's tip doesn't go. And the next one to Stokes. Good outlet. Down to Hansen. Hansen one-on-one with Dressler. Just blows right by him. Oh, what a move.
Pat Bridges' shot are the 2 best efforts we've had today because Hansen hangs in the air just a little longer.
He just breezed right by him.
Boy, does he ever. Bobby Hansen changes from the right to the left, goes up, can't even see the basket. Look at that angle. Nothing to it.
Foul is on Stipanovich, his second. Score tied at 20, and Hansen with a chance to untie it here to complete the 3-point play. First time we've been tied. Hansen has 7 points. Do you realize that neither team has had a lead more than 2 points in this game?
You know, if one could be predicted, it had to be this ball game. This thing, 2 coaches who know what they're doing, so similar in their attack, so similar with the type of personnel they have.
Cavener. They call traveling on him. He slipped. They say he was not tripped.
Cavener went hard to the baseline. Lenny Wirtz makes the call. Jones comes back in.
Yeah, neither team substitute much here. Ron Jones coming back in the lineup. Stewart going basically with a 6-man lineup. And really, Lute Olson doesn't go much deeper than that. Get Banks in there, maybe one more, and that'll be it. Out of bounds.
Something to watch for, that 1-4 attack of Iowa. That means they really are weak getting back, and Missouri will cherry pick. We saw Cavener do it a little while ago. We'll watch for that and see if they do release somebody.
Winner goes to Kansas City to face Villanova and perhaps eventually Houston, the team which eliminated Missouri last year in the tournament.
Offense, Hansen threw an elbow. Sundvold hangs in there pretty good, so Bobby Hansen picks up the foul.
That's Hansen's second, 6'6" senior from Des Moines, Iowa. Per game.
Good basketball game. Fast tempo, teams doing what they do best.
Prince Bridges brings the Tigers up court. Carfino to pick him up. Stipanovich from 15. Carfino grabs it off the glass. Down to the top of the circle. Hansen. Foul by Sundvold, his second.
Carfino caused most of that. One of the few California natives that goes to a Midwestern school. Brother Donnie played at USC. He got the rebound, pushed it down the floor. As a result, they pick up a foul. Now Hansen will come out.
It was interesting. Lute Olson told us yesterday he contacted Carfino when he was a sophomore, and Lute, thought about going to Southern Cal when that job was open several years ago, and just kept up his contact. And eventually got Carfino. He's turned into a very valuable player. Basket for Michael Payne, his third at 6'11". His soft touch from the perimeter area is unusual, to say the least.
Can you believe the big people we've seen in this tournament, how they can shoot from the outside? We saw Keith Lee put on a clinic in the first game.
Sundvold. He's having trouble finding the range. Carfino. Down to Andre Banks, the freshman from Chicago. To Payne, and Payne goes up and is fouled by Bridges.
That wasn't too impressive with Bridges, who goes up with the 6'11" Payne. Even though he picks up the foul, Bridges can fly and leap.
At the line will be Michael Payne. Hansen has been the only Hawkeye to visit the free throw line so far. He's 3 out of 3. And Payne with 6 points, all from the field, will get a pair here. Iowa leading 23-20, biggest lead that either side has had in the game. 5:08 left to play in the first half.
We're talking about Payne. He has 46 assists, which is really amazing for a guy that size. He's very team-oriented.
Down on his field goal shooting this year. He's hit just 41% from the field. Last year, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year as a center. But Stokes came on so strong late last year, they had to make room for him, moved him in the middle.
Saw a tape of him against Marquette, and he had 16 boards. Just looked like $1 million.
25-20. As the Hawkeyes move out to a 5-point lead, and Missouri's having a tough time hitting the basket. Tigers, 4 straight years, the Big 8 champions. Some very tough competition this year, particularly from Oklahoma. They've been through a very tough tournament in the Big 8, including that double overtime. Jones has it blocked. Carfino on the drive. Will slow it down and wait for the reinforcements to arrive. To Payne. Stokes at the free throw line over Cavener. Good hustle under the boards by the freshman Andre Banks. Banks working in the land of the Giants. Picks up his first basket.
Boy, the crowd is going wild. Norm Stewart talks to Sundvold. He's needing a bucket right now, down 7 with 4:24 left. They have not been shooting well. They need to get it in Sundvold's hands.
They've done a good job as Iowa keeping it away from Stipanovich. They've had a tough time. Cavener going to Jones, and Jones has it ripped out of his hands, and the foul is on Banks.
Let's take a look at Payne, who had a block earlier on Stipanovich. Here's the hard drive to the bucket now, as Jones is going in here tough, but there's Payne and Stokes doing their job, and then, of course, Carfino will trigger the break.
Missouri has missed its last 5 shots from the field. We've got a timeout here at Louisville. Iowa by 7. We'll be back in just a moment. 27-20. This is the second game of our Midwest Regional doubleheader. In the first game, Memphis State, riding a great performance from Keith Lee, beat Georgetown and Pat Ewing 66-57. Lee with 28 points and 15 rebounds in that game. Iowa shooting 52% right now. Missouri down to 44 after missing their last 5 from the field.
What a difference a couple of days make. Iowa was so bad in that first half against Utah State. Fortunate to win, and today they're doing everything right.
Ball was kicked by Iowa. It'll be Missouri's to inbound. There's the shooting percentages we just mentioned a moment ago. So last Friday night they shoot 26% in the first half, and right now they're at 52, and that's improvement. Stipanovich did not draw iron on that particular shot. Just a piece of the backboard.
Norm Stewart will have to go to the bench. Right now they're in trouble. They just can't hit a thing. Carfino comes down here and he gets a bucket. Iowa's off and running. They're up 7 right now.
Michael Walker getting ready to come into the game for the Missouri Tigers. Hansen on the outside. Iowa's been rather inconsistent most of the year. They've beaten some of the good teams as Stokes hits. In fact, they beat Indiana, the Big Ten champion, twice, and they go out and lose to the 9th and 10th place teams, Wisconsin and Michigan. So how do you figure that?
Well, you know, a lot of people were disappointed, but that's the Big Ten for you, too. Those guys get after each other. You just walk the plank every week. And what's important is the Michigan State game at the end when they really dominated. A pretty good outfit Judd Heathcote has.
Stipanovich with yet another miss. And Iowa with a 9-point lead with 3 minutes left to play in the first half. Inside to Stokes. Stipanovich guarding him. Stipanovich, by the way, had just 1 foul. I think we said 2 a moment ago. Hansen throws one from the corner.
All Hawkeyes now, if they can't get it inside, which they've been able to do with regularity, Hansen is taken outside. Norm Stewart says slow it down. He's down 11.
31-20. Iowa with the lead. Prince Bridges for Missouri. Missouri looking for somebody who can put it in the hole. Cavener to Bridges. Tried to pass underneath. Stipanovich off balance with the left hand missing. And Gannon gets the rebound. And here come the Hawkeyes again, up by 11.
Very effective matchup zone that Iowa's running. It doesn't look like a matchup, but just watch what they do. They've done a sensational job. They're going to slow it down.
Stipanovich has hit 2 out of 9 from the field here in the first half. 4 points and 4 rebounds.
Back to the attack as I thought Lute Olson would. It's going good. You don't change.
Stokes on the drive is fouled. See, this one is on Stipanovich. He and Cavener were both in the area, and I think it's on Stipo. It's his second. Iowa has hit the last 13 points of this game. See the gentleman there in the headset? That's one of the assistant coaches. In fact, I think that's Jon Sundvold's brother.
That's Bobby Sundvold. They've got one of their other coaches in the crowd. Interesting to get a reaction. It's not a bad go because a lot of times you can't see through the forest because of the trees. And they want to know what's going on up there. Different view. It's like a football scout.
Yeah, Stokes, or rather, Stokes on the free throw line, but Norm Stewart told us before the game he wants to get a guy away from the heat of the action, up above. And he says occasionally they can really pick something out that will help. Well, right now, anybody from up above knows, obviously, as anyone down on the floor does, that Missouri is not hitting.
Very important, minute and 50 left. They need a little bit of a run, trying to cut this thing down. Sundvold's the guy who can do it. There he is.
Sundvold trying to get loose. Iowa doing a great job defensively. Walker, who has just come into the game, to Dressler. Nice fake. Sends it up over Payne, doesn't go. Dressler saves it. Sundvold doesn't take the shot. Stipanovich almost lost control of it. There, the steal by Carfino. I think they got him rattled.
They really do. I'll tell you, the matchup, Lute Olson is asking Carfino to do some things that you shouldn't be able to do, and he's getting it done. Last year, Olson lost to Idaho. Don Munson ran a great matchup, and I think they learned a thing or two from it because he really is asking his people to do some amazing things, and thus far they've responded.
That was a big disappointment for the Hawkeyes to go out west last year and lose the very first outing to Idaho. So they're determined to make up for that this year. And, of course, they've already gone one step past that, winning their first-round game against Utah State on Friday night, 64-59. State showed us a good player in Greg Grant.
Hey, just a freshman, too.
Missouri has now gone 6 minutes without scoring.
And they may go the entire rest of this half because Lute Olson's going to one shot.
Iowa leading 32-20. And the Hawkeyes playing for the last shot. You see the time remaining in the first half. Hansen on the outside. Walker comes out to meet him. Hansen looking for the good shot, off balance shot. That's not the one they wanted. Gannon got the rebound though, and he is fouled.
Boy, that's a big board. Here's a senior co-captain. He can shoot from the outside, but more important, he looks like a tight end. He ain't afraid to mix it up.
Prince Bridges comes back in the game, replacing Walker. That last foul was on Cavener, which is his first of the game. Iowa in the 1-1. Brent Musburger coming up at halftime. Stay tuned for that. Scores and highlights. Got an interesting feature for you on how to play basketball and go to college in Las Vegas, Nevada. I think you'll find enlightening. Down to 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Pass taken away by Payne. 3 seconds. Half-court shot. Hansen. Everything else is falling here. Why not? There's the buzzer, and the Hawkeyes fans love it. So Missouri goes the last 6.5 minutes of the first half without scoring. And at the intermission, it's Iowa 32, Missouri 20. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Indiana leads Oklahoma by a dozen at halftime. And UNLV over North Carolina State by 6 with that game already in the second half. Rutgers surprising St. John's at this point, 26-23, still early. 32-20. And Missouri trying to break the ice. They last scored with 7 minutes and 12 seconds left to play in the first half. At that point, Missouri led Iowa 20-18, and there was never more than 2 points separating the two ball clubs.
Norm Stewart is very good at halftime. We'll watch the adjustments that he has made. Now, Sundvold started out on the baseline. Now they're trying to overload it here. They'll set up a triangle. There goes Sundvold cutting through. They'll look for him at the baseline.
Sundvold hit 3 out of 6 from the field in the first half. Stipanovich, who hit only 2 out of 9. And again, that Iowa zone doing its job, but Sundvold buries one from outside, and that's what they'll have to do to beat this zone.
Well, that wasn't easy. Carfino right in his face. Missouri is pressing. They don't like to press, but Stewart's got a pretty decent press.
Hansen turns around, back to Carfino. Mark Gannon. Payne with the bounce pass inside to Stokes. Left-handed hook is short. Stipanovich cleans it off the board to Sundvold. 15-footer. Stipanovich fights for the rebound, but coming up with it is Michael Payne. Bobby Hansen, fine perimeter shooter for the Hawkeyes, to Payne, who can also shoot from that 15-foot area. Gannon open at the free throw line. Got it.
Good flash, and Hansen finds him. Gannon shakes his fist at him. That's the way to play team ball.
6'7" senior from Iowa City. Sundvold to Bridges. Jones in the corner, doesn't get it. Now he has it, looks inside to Cavener, can't get it in there. Traffic much too heavy.
Frank, it's a green light for Sundvold, and that'll be Norm Stewart's strategy. They're going to just turn him loose. He's thrown up the first 3 shots in a half. 2 of them have gone down.
10-point game. An earlier game today, Ohio State beat Syracuse, and Syracuse was up 11 in the first half. Carfino. Steve Carfino, fine all-around ball game.
He's played well this ball game. He's had a rap on him, sometimes out of control. That's not the case today. He's done a little bit of everything.
6'2" junior Carfino led the Big Ten in 3-point attempts during the year. Sundvold is fouled by Stokes. And Big Ten, of course, they had that line up around the 22-foot mark. That wouldn't the old ACC.
Yeah, that got a little interesting. Billy Packer, Lefty Drysdale had a little contest. A lot of folks showed up for that. Sundvold's going to shoot it. It looks like every time he gets his hands on it. Stewart is intelligent. He knows that's his best bet. The problems that Stipanovich is having getting the ball inside.
Sundvold is a veteran of international play. He played on the United States team, which is in Cali, Colombia, a team that this year in the World University Games will be coached by Norm Stewart. Played up in Canada.
Tell what I love about Sundvold. He wins every wind sprint at practice. He isn't their fastest guy. He just refuses to be number 2.
36-25. Iowa leading. Looking for a chance to go to Kansas City and play Villanova. Hansen on the drive. He's fouled.
Taking it right to the hole. They pick up the foul here.
Cavener has picked up his second personal foul.
Stormin' Norman. He was a baseball pitcher for High Simmons in Missouri, and the only reason he went out, Frank, was to win a bet. And he ended up pretty good. I'll tell you, he was mean. He'd knock you down 3-0. I've never seen Stewart do anything easy. He's a tough competitor.
You know, he was also a baseball pitcher for Missouri when they won the NCAA championship. So he's got to be able to throw it a little bit, or did anyway.
But he only went out really on a bet. Another interesting sidelight to that, his mother didn't even know that he was playing baseball, and Harry Carey had an announcement on the Cardinal Network, and that's when they realized Norm was a baseball player.
38-25, the Hawkeyes now enjoy their biggest lead of the afternoon. Bridges having trouble controlling the ball. Of course, if Stewart can pull this one out, it would be his 400th career win. Sundvold starting to light it up now. That's 3 baskets for him. Here in the second half, he's got 13 points in the game. But he can't do it by himself, quite obviously. 38-27. Hawkeyes finished 5th in the Big Ten. As Indiana won it, they had a 3-way tie for second. Many people thought that Iowa really should have won it. They had the talent. They were the preseason favorite of a lot of folks. But again, they're still a fairly young team. But they're going to lose people like Hansen, which is going to hurt them a little bit. Gannon still got the Twin Towers. Hansen with the miss. Now, Hansen's a guy like Sundvold. He wants the ball at the end, too.
Really does. He'll look you right in the eye. See if Missouri can make a little run. They're down 11, but Sundvold has really been heating it up. Still in the matchup zone. That means Sundvold will go everywhere to get his shots.
Sundvold looking for help. Cavener trapped on the baseline. Carfino went for the steal. That put Jones open from 10 feet away.
Their inside defense is something special. Every time Cavener and Stipanovich even get near the basketball, 3 people around him.
The well-coached ball club.
Missouri's in that half-court trap now. That means somebody is overextended. You get it inside. There they go.
Stokes muscling with Stipanovich. That's Stokes' 4th basket. He has 9 points. Stipanovich has just 4, and he's averaging 18.8 on the year. Yeah, it looks like they're picking up a little bit, the Tigers, in that shooting percentage area. Sundvold with the pass intended for Bridges. That's a guy you wouldn't normally go with to the alley-oop, but he's got such great leaping ability.
They really do like to do that after a timeout, as you point out, Frank, because of his leaping ability. He's not very big, but we saw what a job he did on Payne. Even though he picked up a foul in the first half, he stuffed him. 15
minutes and 20 seconds left to play in the game. 40-29. The Hawkeyes lead it. And they've led since the 7-minute, 30-second mark in the first half. Sundvold has found the rings.
How tough was that? Are you kidding me? This guy's something special.
15 points for the senior from Blue Springs, Missouri. Stokes going in, and he is fouled by Jones.
When you're not used to pressing, that's what happens many times. They give up a layup. In this case, they stop it, but the quickness really hurts them. Here's Sundvold. Think this guy isn't tough. Works around, going against that matchup. In this case, Hansen is going to box and 1 with him. Sundvold with just an impossible shot.
Give the foul to Stipanovich instead, and that'll be 3 on him, as Stokes will go to the line. I said Stipanovich leads Missouri in scoring and rebounding. I notice he also leads him in stitches on the year. He's in double figures in stitches. And he took a pretty good shot last week against Oklahoma State.
And Norm Stewart says, and he ain't cutting himself shaving.
Good point. Hope he's got a free throw to go with each stitch.
This guy had a brother when I was at the University of Colorado. Came up there to play football. He was good. Left school, went back to St. Louis. We got a timeout, Frank.
Hawkeyes still in command with 15 minutes left to play in the game. It's Iowa 42, Missouri 31. Hitting 3 out of 6 in the first half. He is also an Ironman. He's gone the distance in 16 games for Missouri this year and will set a record for most minutes played in a Missouri uniform. He's a finance major, going to go to law school, and a class youngster.
Academic All-American. Be interesting to see what they do with him now. Hansen went in a box and 1 last time, and Bobby Hansen is following him everywhere now. So Lute Olson has changed his defense and try and shut down Sundvold.
Missouri's going to pull this out. I got to believe they've got to get Stipanovich back in this game.
Well,
he's been invisible a good part of it.
And Jones and Bridges are going to have to hit from the wings the way they're playing it. Sundvold will get his own shots just working. That's how you beat a box and 1.
Foul called on Hansen underneath as the Missouri Tigers' Dwight Moody, who just came into the game during the timeout, went up for the shot.
Well, there's a story without Stipanovich. Iowa get excellent effort up front. Stokes, Payne, Gannon just having their own way today.
Norm Stewart looking for somebody. It's got a hot hand. Moody is a 6'5" sophomore from Memphis, Tennessee, who has been used sparingly. so far this year. Missouri's only 1 out of 5 now from the free throw line, and that hasn't helped him. Iowa doing a good job shooting free throws. They've hit 10 out of their 11 free throw attempts.
Missouri's really got to take some chances now. Try and deny, guard the forward pass.
Lenny Wirtz, the official, calling the foul, I believe, on Moody.
No, he's been around. Lenny Wirtz worked the NBA. He's back in college basketball. He had a young son who was going out of fishing. Didn't like, got out of it. I thought Lenny was a little smarter than that. He got the kid out of it. The other kids are doctors and architects. A little smarter there.
Mark Dressler coming into the game for the Missouri Tigers. Iowa with the ball in the front court. Missouri has 3 team fouls. Iowa has 2. A little over 14 minutes left to play in the game, and the Hawkeyes have predominated. Hansen. Bridges coming out to meet him. Looking inside to Payne. Can't get in there to Carfino. Got a little shoving match going on between Dressler and Gannon.
Good call by Don Shea. Gannon threw an elbow. Shea caught him. So Missouri gets the basketball. They got an opportunity to cut it to 9.
Second foul on Gannon. Here come the Tigers.
They change the defense again now. Sundvold will get open in the on the baseline. That is, there he is.
Missouri's hit its last 4 shots. Didn't he do a good job there when he couldn't see the shot? Passing off. However, they turn it over, get it back again, and the foul is going to be called on Dressler. Mark Dressler picks up his second foul, 6'6" senior from St. Louis. You know, he got hypnotized, went out the first game, scored 24, then came back the next game, got 3. So I don't know what that tells you.
Well, maybe the hypnotist had a bad day. That could happen.
Could be, too.
Iowa's quickness is starting to show. They're just a shade quicker than Missouri. Nice pass.
Good pass. Payne on the slam.
The press has hurt Missouri. Got to believe Norm Stewart will go to the half court because the full court press is hurting.
Michael Payne has scored 10 points. And the Hawkeyes are up by 13, and that ties their biggest lead. 44-31 Iowa with 13 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Sundvold from 23. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
Well, you talk about a pure shooter. He is amazing. You know, that's not easy to square up on the left side with your body. There's a guy named Mike Evans just played K-State, was the best I've seen. And Sundvold just did that, made it look like Evans.
Stokes hitting for Iowa. Greg Stokes, the 6'10 sophomore, answers for the Hawkeyes. He's got 13 points, and Cavener comes back into the game for Missouri. So Iowa answering Missouri with a basket of its own.
Let's take a look at the passing effort here. Gannon did a great job right there. Outstanding. Gannon triggered him against Utah State when they were in trouble on Friday.
Sundvold's all they got going for him right now. Dressler with the miss from close range. Cavener saves it. Sundvold, not this time. Carfino comes up with the rebound.
Carfino's the kind of a guy, looks like he could be a boxer, looks like he could be a defensive back.
Payne, soft touch. Just a sweet J by Michael Payne.
Missouri wants a timeout. This thing's getting away from Norm Stewart. Listen to this crowd.
Sundvold has scored 11, which continues to have his problems. Actually, he's become invisible here in the second half. He has not attempted a shot in this half. At 2 out of 9, those are his first half stats.
Missouri's thrown up 9 shots, 5 of those by Sundvold. They've hit 6 of 9, shooting 66%. Iowa 6 of 8, 75%, putting on a clinic. But what's really impressive is what Lute Olson has done on the inside with Steve Stipanovich.
Stepanovich's low game this year. Colorado held him to 6 points several weeks ago.
The shooter is in the corner, and now he's coming out to the top.
Sundvold's been trying to do it all. He's got 17 right now.
Lute Olson went to the box and won just for a while, but I think he figures he's better off letting this guy get his points. Be sure you don't let Stipanovich get loose in the middle. Box and one has a lot of weaknesses.
Gannon staying with him. The other night when Greg Grant of Utah State started to kill Iowa, it was Gannon they put on him. Sundvold buries another one.
What a show. This is a Maravich performance.
You realize he hasn't had a shot inside about 20 feet.
And people are laying on him. He's falling backwards. Hansen's been on him like a glove when they're in the box and one. There's a nice effort. They can get a puppy if they hurry.
Stipanovich, good defensive play that time. Down it comes Cavener. A little bit too much spin off the board. Iowa again in charge. Stipanovich knocks it out of bounds. The Hawkeyes ball underneath their offensive hoop. They're going for their 21st win of the year. They've got 5 straight 20-win seasons.
Frank, I tell you, this ball club is capable of going to the Final Four in Albuquerque. They have really gelled at the right time. People have been waiting for them to do it all year long. There's another foul on Stipanovich.
That's 4. Sundvold has hit 9 out of 14 from the field after being 3 out of 6 in the first half. Well, Stipo would hate to wind up his career in this manner, certainly. Regardless of what happens, though, he and Sundvold have really put Missouri basketball on the map the last 4 years. I mean, they sell out every game now. And
well, it's unbelievable. I remember the early days at old Brewer Fieldhouse. They'd kind of go around it so people wouldn't see it. Now they got a great place. They got the Antlers, that student section, one of the better groups in America.
Payne with the miss. Cavener grabs it. Down to Sundvold. Carfino picks him up, top of the circle. There's another one.
I tell you what.
I mean, you run out of words, right?
Well, you really do. It's a broken record. I think people think we're shilling for the guy, but the picture will tell you.
He's been absolutely magnificent, but he's had to do it himself. Hansen coming on a little bit too strong on that drive, out of control. Cavener with the rebound to Sundvold. Carfino with the fake. Sundvold gets it up, and another one.
Unbelievable that time. Carfino all over him. Missouri taking some chances.
Hansen on the drive, and Cavener fouls him as he scores. Cavener picks up his 3rd foul, and Hansen gets a big, big basket for the Hawkeyes just as Missouri was starting a surge.
They really had, Frank. Cut it to 9. Hansen comes down with one of those shots that really looked impossible. We'll take a look at Cavener. Had no choice but to foul him. Missouri doesn't get back on the press. Cavener comes in, hits him on the arm. Hansen probably has as good a continuation as anybody in America playing college basketball.
Hansen with 4 baskets and a perfect 5 out of 5 from the line. 13 points for the Hawkeyes. Sundvold has scored 17 out of Missouri's 19 second half points. How's that for you?
And you would think that somebody else would be open the way they're getting all over him. Missouri turns it over. That doesn't help.
Moody couldn't hang on to the pass, and the Hawkeyes will bring it down. Let's see if Missouri's going to start some pressure now. They're down 11 with 10 minutes and 19 seconds left to play.
They had a hard trap against Oklahoma State in the Big 8 final. Cut down an impossible situation to send it into overtime. But normally, Norm Stewart doesn't like to press. He's a straight, vanilla, man-for-man coach. And normally within a bucket or 2 of being in the ballgame. Today, that's not the case.
Banks is back in the game for Iowa, the only substitute that they've used. Got he and Carfino both in there as Carfino drives into the lane and picks up the offensive foul.
Out of control. Lute Olson says, take the jump shot, Steve. Stipanovich will have to come back in. It's gamble time with 9:59 left.
Iowa was as high as number 6 in the polls at one time this season, but they dropped out of the polls by the time season with Missouri trailing Iowa. Of course, Missouri was the higher-seeded team coming in. You wonder where the Tigers would be without Sundvold.
Oh, I tell you, he's done some kind of job. He's taken most of the shots. He's hit most of the shots. He's just been unbelievable this half.
He is 8 out of 10 in this half. The rest of the team is 1 out of 3. So it is do or die time now for the Missouri Tigers. Wait a minute, we've got the officials want to get something straightened out at this point. As they come over to the scoring table, talk to the official score. Some question about Hansen coming back into the game. 9:59 left to play. Iowa by 11, 50-39. The Hawkeyes looking at Villanova next Friday night at Kemper Arena in Kansas City. Unless the Tigers can somehow pull it out. Stipanovich with 4 fouls on him, only 4 points. Sundvold buries another one. 25 points. He's got 25 of their 41 points.
And he's just tireless. He's pressing. He's been all over the court. Every time Missouri makes a little run, though, Iowa comes down with patience, gets a great shot.
Hansen with the bounce pass inside. Ball loose on the floor. Let's see who comes up with it. Missouri, Stipanovich. And some other games going on, and we're going to pass those scores along to you shortly. Sundvold open from the top. Finally missed one. Man's only human. Here's some of the other scores from around the country. Indiana still leaking Oklahoma. UNLV over North Carolina State in what might be considered by some as an upset. Carfino with the miss. St. John's and Rutgers, just a one-point ball game. Our score 50-41 with 8:55 to go.
And inside, Payne just continues to work over Stipanovich.
Sundvold from the corner, getting a lot of company. Cavener. No, it's Stipanovich with the hook.
With the left hand, his first shot of the half. 8:40 to go in the ball game. He takes his first shot.
6 points for Stipanovich, 50-43.
Missouri's the kind of a ball club, Frank, that has had destiny on their side many times. They have the ability to come from behind. But boy, you don't come from behind when a guy like Gannon does that. He just snuck inside.
Payne with the miss, and Gannon got that left hand up there and tipped it in.
Gannon did something that's really something for a young ball player looking in. He didn't stay on the defender's back. He snuck inside and found a seam.
Stipanovich missing. That's his second shot of the second half, so obviously they've told him, you get it, shoot it. You're one of our best shooters. You've been doing it for us for 4 years, and now is the time if we're going to play another day. Bobby Hansen on top, slowing the Iowa offense down. Veteran senior is Gannon here, number 44. Hansen trying to penetrate on Moody. 7 minutes, 40 seconds. 52-43, 9-point lead for the Iowa Hawkeyes, who have been up by as much as 15. Reminder, at the conclusion of today's NCAA championship game, Herb Brown and I will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Gannon with a big bucket. That's 2 in a row for him.
They used the clock well. They took 37 seconds off, and then Gannon hits it.
Back to an 11-point lead. Cavener with the left hand. Greg Cavener with his third basket of the game. Sophomore from Springfield, Missouri.
You saw Carfino signal everybody out of the way when it's a man press. One guy beats it. Oh, Sundvold picks up the foul. This is going to bring Stewart up. Stewart felt that Carfino was out of control, and he'll really contest this one. Here comes Steve, comes down here behind the back. Sundvold competing, and it looks like there's no contact. Carfino just a little bit out of control. Foul comes from the underneath official.
They're in the 1-1. That is the 7th team foul against Missouri. Sundvold has picked up his 3rd personal foul. And going to the line will be Carfino. 73% free throw shooter on the year. His first free throw attempt this afternoon. Jones with the rebound, and here come the Tigers. 54-49, they trail by 9, and the clock has become a factor. Sundvold can't hit it from 20. Hansen on the drive, one-on-one with Bridges. Tries to slam it off the glass with the left hand, and Jones gets the rebound. And the Tigers come back the other way. It is Cavener passing off to Moody. Moody lays it up. No good. Next one. Carfino. What a battle.
Missouri really needed one in the open court. There are people all over. Normally you get a layup on the other end. Lute Olson stands up and says, slow it down. 6:22 left. They're in control. The clock on their side.
Hansen drops it inside to Stokes. Over Cavener, and we got a whistle and a foul underneath called on Ron Jones for throwing an elbow into Gannon.
Stipanovich will have to come back in. Sat out just briefly. Let's see if we can pick up what Jones does on the inside. He's a very physical player. Here's the miss by the lefty Stokes. And there's the shot right there by Jones.
Missouri's best finish in the NCAA tournament back in 1976 when they lost to Michigan. Where do you think that happened?
Kansas City.
How about right here?
Oh, here in Freedom Hall?
Right here in Freedom Hall. So it does not hold fond memories for the Missouri Tigers. Gannon on the free throw line with a big one there. Again, the 1-1 situation working to Iowa's benefit.
You know, this guy last year had some injury problems during the playoffs, and it really hurt him. He's just a tough competitor. He'd shoot a little bit, he'll buck it up a little bit. Just his very physical presence means a great deal to the Hawkeyes.
First meeting between these two clubs in 28 years, back to 1954. Prince Bridges, who's been quiet.
Boy, does he explode quickly with that jump shot. He gets up in the air suddenly.
6'1" junior from Oklahoma City. Bounce pass off someone's foot. They give it to Missouri. 56-47 substitutes coming into the game for the Tigers. Cavener comes back in. Moody comes out. Jones comes back in. And Stipanovich will come out.
Lute Olson really getting after Bobby Hansen. He didn't like that out-of-control situation. Right now, he's in control of the basketball game. You give up a couple of buckets, Missouri gets right back in it. And the way Sundvold shoots, Frank, you just never know.
Stokes inside, doesn't take the shot. Instead goes to Carfino. See if they slow it down a little bit here. Look for the foul since they've got the bonus situation working for them. Stokes in the corner, hooks a pass outside to Hansen. 5.5 minutes left to play in the game. Iowa 56, Missouri 47. Upset in the making. The Hawkeyes been leading. It's 7 minutes and 50 seconds left to play in the first half. At that point, Missouri was out in front 20-18. Payne with the miss. Gannon, great position underneath, and he is fouled as he goes up for the shot by Bridges.
Gotta love that guy. He's just a blue-collar worker, period. Shows up, gives you a day's work.
Good position on the boards, gets his share of rebounds, hits an occasional shot. Has a nervous habit of blowing on his fingers as he goes to the free throw line. They dry him off. Stipanovich comes back in.
He's probably going to try out for Dwayne Banks' baseball team. He wants to be like Gaylord Perry. I've never seen a basketball player do that.
Never?
No, that's a baseball move. That's when you put the Vicks or the Vaseline on your neck so you can throw the spitter.
Gannon 2 out of 3 from the free throw line. He's got 10 points. He's averaged only 7 on the year, so he's over his average already. Iowa 12, 13 out of 18 from the line in the game.
Lute Olson is up now, hollering at him to get their hands up, be active in that zone. It's been a matchup.
They try to get it inside to Stipanovich, and this time I believe they got Payne. His first foul.
It's only the 15th foul on Iowa, and Payne has been very clean inside. He's been physical and yet clean. The officials have let him play and have done a good job.
Hansen is the only Hawkeye with as many as 3 fouls. Of course, Stipanovich has 4 for Missouri. Cavener has 3, Bridges has 3, and Sundvold with 3 fouls. Cavener. Boy, he's got the shot right there, yes. He couldn't believe he was that open when he turned around. Cavener with his 4th basket. Time for Rutgers. Rebounds in the second half. Iowa has a 12-9 edge. Carfino down to Stokes. And they're going to play a little keep away here, I think. Let's see. Hansen on the outside to Stokes.
Missouri will look to double up in this half-court situation, and Iowa wants to be so quick that they don't get fouled to run some time off the clock.
Of course, Iowa can benefit from the bonus here, so every time that Missouri fouls, it's at least a 1-and-1 situation for the Hawkeyes. Gonna look for the gimme shot here or look for the foul.
There it is. Ooh. Boy, do they keep it hot. Some nights you're really right. Iowa was so bad the other night, and tonight has been a clinic.
Great defensive job. Sundvold has kept Missouri in this game. Stokes almost loses it. Gannon can't resist it from there. Boy, that's confidence.
Boy, Lute Olson gets up, claps his hands, smiles.
That's another one of those, don't do it. Great. It's a big basket, 59-49. Missouri answers, and Stewart wants a timeout. 3 minutes, 45 seconds left to play in the game, and the Hawkeye 1,600 on hand. And right now, the Iowa Hawkeyes lead Missouri 59-51. A lot of these fans are going to stick around after this game because they're going to lower some giant television screens. And the fans here at Freedom Hall are going to get to watch the Louisville game on CBS sitting in their seats here at Freedom Hall. They couldn't get the Cardinals live here to play the ball game. They're up at Evansville. A lot of them are going to do the next best thing, have them on television.
A lot of them are going to burn their tickets. I think they backed off. There's just a few doing that.
Steve Carfino pushing it up court. Missouri playing. Get the ball, and Bridges that time a little bit too anxious. Picks up the foul, his 4th.
Well, it can pay off, too. Carfino needs to hit the front end of the one-on-one. That's the key. Anytime you're in that nerve warfare, you got to hit your free throws, particularly the front end of the one-on-one.
Steve Carfino has missed his only free throw attempt thus far. He has 6 points. 6'2" junior from Bell Flower, California. His brother Don was quite a star at USC. A lot of people thought he'd wind up out there.
And Donnie's back in school now, working on an advanced degree.
There are those who might say that you'd have to think twice. You're from Southern California to wind up going to school in Iowa, but I'm sure the people of Iowa would think otherwise.
Same climate, isn't it, Frank?
Same thing. In June. Sundvold, they're all over him. Bridges inside to Cavener. Cavener missing the left-handed turnaround jumper from 10, and Stokes gets a big rebound for the Hawkeyes, throws it away.
Stipanovich, or Cavener, got away with a foul.
That's Dressler on the drive. Well, there's a great job of intimidation by Payne, I'll tell you.
He's been sensational. Not only has he done the job on Stipanovich, he helps out there and gets it done. We're down to 2:54.
Cavener really had to alter that shot. Payne on the drive, big basket for the Hawkeyes.
That's it for Stipanovich.
Michael Payne gets his 6th basket, gives him 14 points, and Steve Stipanovich has just wound up his career at the University of Missouri. Not the way he wanted to necessarily, but Steve, of course, is going to be remembered by the folks in Columbia for a long, long time for what he's done for that program.
All-time leading scorer,
Rebounder.
4 straight Big 8 championships. It's unfortunate. He'll be upset today, but I think when he realizes and the Missouri fans realize just what he has done, he's just been sensational. He just went up against a ball club and a guy by the name of Payne today that were absolutely right.
Payne now with 15 points. He's got 3 rebounds, and he has influenced the direction of several shots on defense. Good move by Prince Bridges.
This time Norm Stewart doesn't use a timeout to set up that press. He'll do without it. They pick up another foul.
Tigers don't have much choice but to foul now and hope that Iowa starts missing some free throws. 2 minutes, 38 seconds left to play. Hawkeyes leading 64-53. Moody picks up the foul.
We had a meeting last night with the coaches. Lute Olson said if we do our job and play that matchup the way we're supposed to, we can handle Steve Stipanovich.
Now Stipanovich wound up with a total of 6 points, 3 out of 11 from the field, and 8 rebounds. That's holding him in check pretty well. That's as low a point total as he's had all year. Stokes now 4 out of 5 from the line. He's got 14 points. Payne has got 15. So the Twin Towers of Iowa certainly have done their job. Missouri pushing it down quickly now. They're down a dozen with 2.5 to go. Sundvold, who's been all of the Missouri offense, missing. Bridges saves it, guarded by Carfino. Cavener has it blocked right back at it. Has the open shot from 15. He stayed after it, didn't he?
Well, you talk about an ambidextrous guy. He's a natural lefty. Shoots right-handed. Did a good job. We'll have to look back at that 6-minute stretch, Frank, where Missouri couldn't buy a thing, because we had a good basketball game until that period, and then Iowa, who's just been as consistent as I've seen. And what's interesting, around the hotel, the Iowa fans are staying there. They've been complaining about this ball club. It's been up and down like a roller coaster this year.
Cavener, his first free throw attempt of the afternoon, only a 58% shooter. It was dead even. I mean, there wasn't more than 2 points separating these clubs for the first 13 minutes of this game. And then Missouri went 7.5 minutes without scoring a point, leading up to intermission. And Iowa ran up the 12-point lead at halftime. And Missouri's made a mini run at it. That's been it. After this one's over, we will take you to Corvallis, Oregon for the finish of the UNLV North Carolina State game. Lots more basketball coming up. Stokes with another one.
Guess who got the assist? Payne has been all over this floor.
16 points for Stokes. Sundvold rejected by Stokes. Gannon down to Carfino. Back to Hansen, to Carfino, who was standing out of bounds. Carfino said, "What are you throwing it to me? I'm out of bounds."
Everybody liked that and enjoyed it except Lute Olson. Here's Carfino. He goes up here. I'll tell you what, we got a little hot potato, and it's a good call by the officials. Not talking to you. You can't come from out of bounds. Your feet have to be on the ground.
Bridges missing. Jones underneath. Missing, and we get a foul. You notice Carfino on that last thing. You're a fan of the footwork. Did you see his footwork as he tried to get those feet back in bounds? He did a nifty little move down at the other end.
He's taking a little ballet.
Ron Jones will go to the free throw line. 67-54, and the Hawkeyes, I think, can punch their ticket for Kemper Arena in Kansas City next Friday night, where they will face off with Villanova in one half of the regional doubleheader, and the other half, Houston and Memphis State. Olajuwon and Keith Lee, and you will see that on CBS. It will be our Friday night late game. That's going to be a great, great matchup. Foul called on the inbound situation on Moody.
Out of Memphis, Tennessee. Boy, not too many of them get away from Dana Kirk down at Memphis State. Moody does wind up in Columbia, Missouri.
Again, a 1-and-1, and Stokes is on the line, and Norm Stewart, well, what can you do?
When the ball won't go down, you're in serious trouble, and give credit. There's an unhappy bunch of guys. They had a great year. Iowa was just right. Better team won today.
Again, you wonder, though, at times, if a team that does play on Friday night gets the NCAA jitters out, gets itself in gear, of course, wins the game. If they didn't win it, they wouldn't be here today. If maybe that isn't a bit of an advantage over a team that's just been waiting for a week and has to come in cold.
Most of the coaches will tell you that. I just felt that Norm Stewart, with a week of preparation, would really have some things going for Iowa, but Lute Olson had the best matchup zone I've seen this year.
18 points for Stokes. Sundvold parries another one from the corner. That's his 13th basket, gives him 27 of his team's 58 points. And we've got a timeout with 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining. Iowa leading 69-58. And we can tell you, of the people who helped make this possible today, the executive producer of NCAA Sports on CBS, Kevin O'Malley. Our producer in Louisville, Michael Burks. And our director, Sandy Grossman. Our associate producer, Ernie Bauer. Our field technical manager, Harold Schutzman, and our broadcast associate, Mark Cohen. Bob Brown, our technical director, Willis Webster and Fred Lopez, who handled audio. And the rest of our fine technical crew. A long afternoon for them with 2 ball games, but we've seen 2 pretty decent games. Stokes now has 20 points. Timeouts. Iowa has 4. Missouri has 1 left, but I really don't think that's a factor.
It's really academic now, Frank. Iowa going to the regional.
Big day for the Big Ten. Ohio State wins in Syracuse, and now Iowa wins.
Indiana is leading Oklahoma.
That's right. Illinois got beat the other night.
Hey, how about Utah? You talk about a surprising outfit. 3-way tie for the WAC championship with UTEP and BYU. They go in and beat Illinois and UCLA, and they'll go to Ogden, Utah.
Down it comes to Stokes, and immediately fouled by Ron Jones.
Nice little run-out pass as Iowa continues to do everything right.
Our thanks also to Dave Hart, who is the NCAA committee member on site, although it hasn't been the happiest of weekends for Dave, the way this thing is turning out.
And, you know, Dave spent some time here as the athletic director for the University of Louisville. Caught a lot of grief because of the assignment of Louisville playing in Evansville. And, of course, that committee, I tell you, I'm not sure I'd want to be on that committee that makes the selections and does all that work. It's a thankless job.
Like officiating, right? You can't.
Oh, officiating is one of the easier things going.
Oh, sure.
Ask Norm Stewart what's easier, officiating or coaching. I guarantee he'll tell you officiating.
Today he will.
I think any day. Coaching, you got to take charge of 10 people. Officiating, you take care of yourself.
Stokes continues to increase Iowa's lead, 71-58 as he hits 2 from the line. 1 minute 15 to go. Tigers not giving up. Sundvold wrapping up his Missouri career in a blaze of glory here.
One more time.
29 points. His career high is 32, and that was against Oregon State. So he is close to it. Timeout, 1:09 left to play. Going to go down fighting, and right now Lute Olson has got to be happy. A lot of smiles on that Iowa Hawkeye bench. Payne to Carfino. Trying to get it across the center line. Boy, he took a couple of good shots.
Well, it's called a little different when the game is over.
They don't call him quite as close.
No. You know, we did talk at the top. Did the layoff hurt? Did the loss to Oklahoma State double overtime? I'm sure all those things are a factor, Frank. But the bottom line, Iowa just came in here and did a fantastic job. And there's the man who architected.
Lute Olson, the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes, fine gentleman. His 9th year on the job.
He was at Long Beach State for a year. Native of Minnesota. Had a son that, or son-in-law, I should say that played for him, Cal Wolfenberg, and he's here today.
Gannon has hit 7 out of 8 from the line, in addition to 4 baskets, so he's got 15 points. Everybody is in on the act. Moody with a strong move to the hoop. It doesn't go down. Payne gets the rebound. And someone took a swat at him. And Payne will go to the line. Hawkeyes opened this season with 3 returning starters, the Twin Towers, and a lot of promise. They were disappointed the way they finished in the Big Ten, but as you mentioned, you know, the whole thing is to get it going at the right time, and the right time is now.
Remember when they went to the Final Four, they had the same kind of year. I believe they finished 4th that year. Then they gelled about tournament time and made a hard run. This ball club really does have everything you need to go all the way. They can play defense. They've got some size. They've got some quickness. And they can shoot a little bit from the outside.
And from the free throw line. That's 25 out of 31. That's pretty good free throw shooting. And Michael Payne is a perfect 6 out of 6. And he has 18 points. Sundvold missing from 23 feet. Sundvold comes in trying to tie up Payne. Let's see if they call the foul here. Jon Sundvold, that would be his 4th. With just 40 seconds left to play in the game. You wonder now, Stewart's going to have a little rebuilding job next year with Stipanovich gone and with Sundvold gone.
Got to replace this big guy. You hate to see somebody end up unhappy, and Steve is a very unhappy guy now. Sundvold going out and getting a big ovation from the people, both Iowa and Missouri fans.
So Jon Sundvold winds up his Missouri career, covers himself in glory with a total of 29 points. He was Missouri's offense. Now the Hawkeyes taking out some of their starters, and they're getting congratulations. Stipanovich will wind up, in addition to the leading scorer and rebounder in Missouri history, the number 6 man in Big 8 history. Payne missing on the free throw. Cavener comes down with it. 75-60 Hawkeyes. Laurie, not bad for a guy just came off the bench.
He's a pretty good shooter, always has shot well. He's just going against a guy like Sundvold in practice. Prince Bridges.
28 seconds left to play. There's Jon Sundvold. He said he's a finance major, thinking about going to law school, winding up a tremendous 4-year career. Number 2 scorer in Missouri history. He sets a record for minutes played. He's a tremendous free throw shooter. He's one of the best in the country. 85% free throw shooter. That's career.
Oh, there's the final in Evansville. Indiana under Bobby Knight advances. Oklahoma, well, they had some problems down there this year with Billy Tubbs.
They got to go to Knoxville, don't they?
Right. Billy Tubbs, Barry Switzer had one of the greatest ad-libs going. When Billy Tubbs got hit, I think everybody knows the story when he's out jogging. He says, you never jog after a loss.
Good point. Michael Payne with his 20th point. And it's 77-62, 12 seconds left to play. You know, this is going to do it as far as Big 8 teams are concerned. Missouri will become the last Big 8 team to be eliminated from the NCAA tournament. Big hand for the Hawkeyes now as Carfino and Payne come out of the ball game.
Boy, they got some wood chop down here in Louisville. Along with Memphis State, they will advance to Kansas City. And both very impressive. We saw Keith Lee just put on a tremendous show in the first game. In this ball game, it's been balanced.
Laurie on the free throw line. He hit the bucket just a moment ago. So he's got 3 points in about 15 seconds. Did everything but go in, didn't it? 10 seconds left. 77-63. Hawkeyes trying to inbound it to King. Up to Anderson. No basket. Going to rule basket interference. Brad Lohaus, who is a big freshman from Phoenix, Arizona.
He's a pretty good player, that big 7-footer. Look at that bench.
3 seconds to go. Laurie puts it up at the buzzer, and the Hawkeyes win it. An impressive victory for the Iowa Hawkeyes as they move out to a 32-20 lead at halftime and then win it going away 77-63. Stokes wound up with 22 points and 5 rebounds. Michael Payne with a tremendous defensive job on Stipanovich, and he winds up with a total of 20 points. 77-63. Iowa will move on to play Villanova at Kansas City. That's it from Louisville. Now to Brent Musburger in New York.